Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and do some more buckshot testing, and today we've got a combo that one of you guys requested to see, and it's definitely a pretty interesting one as well. It might work out okay, or it might be a little bit disappointing since it is a little bit of a stretch as far as choke and constriction goes, but we'll see what happens. But as for the shells I brought today, I got out some more of these, the Winchester Super X buckshot loads, but these are a 12 gauge, 3 inch, 24 pellet load of 1 buck, moving about 1,040 feet per second, and so far in our testing with these, they've been a decent performing shell. I think the best combo we've tried them through was an old Mossberg with a fixed full choke barrel, but we've also kind of floated right around the 690, 695-ish choke constriction range, so right around a full choke-ish in our testing with them. So today's choke is definitely quite a bit tighter than that, so we'll see what we can get from them. But as for that setup we're going to run them through, I brought out the Remington 1187. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and for the choke, we've got a Carlson's Coyote choke in here, and this is pretty interesting because they don't advertise a constriction for this choke online or on the packaging or anything, and I measured it out to be a 665 constriction. So this is essentially a turkey choke. They advertise that it's good for things like 4 buck and BB, but this 1 buck pellet is a good bit larger than a 4 buck pellet is. So is it going to be too much constriction for them? I don't know, maybe, but it might work out and give us a pretty tight pattern out of these. I don't know, we'll see what we can get. But as for today's test, everything is the same as usual. We've got the big sheet of paper set up at 40 yards and the chronograph so we can get our velocity from the shells. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see if this combination works out, or is it going to be too much choke and completely ruin our pattern. I don't know. Let's take our shot and see what we get. Alright, that shell gave us 992 through the chrono. The boss claim is only 1,040 from these shells. So we are still a little bit under that, but we're not too far off the claim. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing some more velocity out of them, that's for sure. But it is a pretty stout load. 24 pellets of 1 buck in a shell is pretty good. So in the grand scheme of things, it is enough velocity out to that 40-yard range to still do the job. And we're not too far off their claim. So nothing too out of the ordinary here. But how did they perform down there at 40 through that Carlson's Coyote choke? Let's go check it out and see. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and I did move it out of the weird sun and shadows so you guys could see things a little bit better there. Either way, we see an okay pattern down here. For a reference, the white dot was my point of aim. The paper's 36 inches wide, and we had 21 out of the 24 pellets actually hit the paper here. I believe number 22 is up here just on the top right corner of the board, right off the paper. Number 23 is over here just off to the left in the center of that board. And number 24, if I had to guess, probably went over the top of the paper or something. Either way, the majority of our pattern is right there on the paper where we can see it. And I did measure the farthest 2 points across, which is pretty much straight up and down with the main portion of our pattern there. Gave us 29 inches of spread at 40 yards. So definitely not terrible, but we also saw a couple little strings and flyers around there as well that definitely opened it up quite a bit. As far as the middle portion or core area of our pattern, it's nothing super outstanding. We do kind of have a little string diagonally up here and another little hot spot down there to the left of the white dot and a little clump over here to the right as well. So it's not a perfectly even spread, but you do have a good number of pellets right through there around your point of aim, and it is good enough at 40 yards to get the job done for whatever you would need it for. Just based on the blank sheet of paper alone here, you're going to be fine. I think we have seen a little bit better pattern overall from these shells previously, so I definitely think we have gone over the choke constriction limit here and started to blow these wide open a little bit. It's just not a super even spread, but let's throw a few templates up and see how they actually performed. So first up is our 10-inch circle, and when we put it in the core of our pattern here, we had 5 pellets definitely within a 10-inch circle at 40, and we had 2 that just barely are kind of right on the edge down there if you get center with the actual pattern. They just might have barely snuck in. So 5, 6 pellets or so is pretty realistic here. Not terrible overall, absolutely good enough to get the job done, but I do think we have had a couple more pellets in the 10-inch circle from these shells previously. So not horrible for a core, but let's throw a few animal templates up and see how it would look in a hunting scenario. So here's our deer template, and when we line it up with our point of aim there, we've got a pretty decent spread of pellets right there. You have at least 15 of them that would have definitely hit the deer, maybe a couple down there in the front leg, but that is absolutely a dead deer all day long. He's not going to make it very far, if anywhere at all, on you. You've got a bunch of them right through your main vitals here, right through the heart and lung area. So yeah, absolutely good enough for a 40-yard deer hunt, but you might want to be a little careful as well. If there's another deer kind of close to him, you do have those few flyers and stuff around the top and the edges to work with, so you don't want to hit multiple deer, but that's definitely a capable pattern for you. So now let's throw the hog template up for those of you hog hunters as well. I think it's going to be pretty much the same story, but let's take a look at it and see how it performed. And here's that hog template, and like I suspected, it's pretty well the exact same story. Absolutely a dead hog all day long, no doubt about it. So for you guys down there in the south, it's absolutely a capable enough combo. And for you predator hunters that might want to use this combination as well, a coyote would be just a touch smaller than the hog template, so it would be good enough for those as well. So not a terrible pattern for today. Overall, it's definitely not horrible, but we have seen better from these shells previously. We definitely picked up a few flyers and stuff, and maybe a couple little voids and unevenness in the middle there as well. So I think we've just kind of jumped over the choke constriction wall here. 665 is a straight up turkey choke constriction, and that typically does okay with 4-buck and BB and things like that. But 1-buck, I think it's probably a little too much constriction, but one of you guys wanted to see it, so we had to try it and see what happens anyway. And it is still a usable combination, but you're probably going to be better off with a full choke or an extra full choke or something along that line. Alright, well, what did y'all think about that result right there? It's an okay pattern for what it is. I just think, again, it's too much choke for what these really like to give you a nice, even pattern. But for a shell that is just a buffered payload, it doesn't have any kind of special wad or anything with it, that's not terrible. We've absolutely seen way worse. So it is still a usable combination. If that's the combo you had or you felt like running, it would be good enough. But I think there's better options out there with that choke and these loads as far as combinations go, but still, it could have gone way worse. So I wouldn't call that too bad, all things considered. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Super X 24 pellet 1-buck shells? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a pattern or a combo you would hunt with? Or is it just a little bit too splotchy or all over the place or too much choke for you or anything like that? And what other shell or choke combos do you want to see with either those 24 pellet 1-buck loads or that Carlson's Coyote choke? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.